Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is May 4th. May the 4th be with you. It is Star Wars Day today. I want to do a Star Wars movie tier list. And now we're not just going to go over the 9 episodes within the Luke Skywalker saga. There's a few other side story movies and the holiday special. So we got 12 movies here that we need to put in this tier list. And we are starting from S, meaning the best movies out of the series, and all the way to F, which are the worst movies of the series. So with my relationship with the Star Wars movies in general, I was born in the mid 80s. So growing up in the 90s, there was very, very little. That's what they call the drought of, or the dark times of Star Wars fandom, when nothing was really happening. Star Wars was old. Everything you saw that was Star Wars was vintage. The only things that I remember growing up as a kid was renting old VHS tapes and watching them, or getting some of the old action figures on my birthday or whatever, and that was about it. It wasn't until 1995 when the Power of the Force 2 toy line came out and they started making more action figures for what would be Episode 1 coming out. So that was like the big haul, the big merchandise push. Oh, they're making a new Star Wars movie. Well, let's sell all of the old stuff that we do have in repackaged form, put it out a few years before the next movie comes out so we can really get this machine going. So it was about 1995 when Star Wars really started to pop off again and get heated up again. And since then, it's just been a massive behemoth, billion-dollar industry that is now owned by Disney, which back in the day, Star Wars was a very simple movie. The very first one was almost practically saved in editing, but it turned into this thing that pretty much became a masterpiece. Now, I take Star Wars for granted, but I think people that grew up with the first movie coming out and they saw it in theaters and everything, it was a massive explosion of, oh, they've never done this kind of stuff before. So, like, Star Wars is very, very important to the movie and film industry and timeline in general. So anyways, here we have all 12 films, movies we are going to be ranking, all in release order. So from 1977 all the way up till, I think this was 2019. So Return of the Jedi. I like it in parts. I really do like the final battle scene in the throne room with Luke Skywalker and the Emperor and Darth Vader. But the Ewoks really throw me off. I'm not a fan of the Ewoks. Yeah, they're cute, they're cuddly, but it just seemed a little too unnecessary. And I've heard that the Ewoks were put there because they were trying to appeal to more kids. But it definitely does have that authentic Star Wars feel. I want to put it's a high B, low A, so we'll put it like right there. And let's do this, okay? The last trilogy, the last 3 movies, I can't tell them apart. The only thing I could really remember and take apart is Luke Skywalker on the island and him milking that thing and getting blue milk out of it. All 3 Skywalker final films are F tier, just right off the bat. Alright, so now we got that out of the way. Let's go with the prequels, episode 1 through 3. Episode 1, I remember seeing it in theaters day 1 when it came out. I was like 13, and I liked it when it came out because, there was so much, like, hype around it. Like, this is the greatest thing ever. Star Wars is coming back, and you're going to see all your new friends and old friends. They're all coming together, and this is the origin story of Anakin Skywalker slowly becoming Darth Vader over these next 3 movies. And over time, I grew to really not like it, mostly because I watched the Red Letter Media video on it, which was really great. There was so many things that was pointed out in that video that made me think, man, episode 1 really was crap. But now, like, disassociating, like, from everything and just enjoying it as just a movie. Yeah, there are a lot of parts that are still very boring about the Senate and all this stuff, and it's like, ugh, it's kind of hard to get through that. But the parts that are really cool in the movie really do shine. And I kind of base movies and if they're good or not by how I'm able to remember anything from it. And episode 1, I do remember a lot from the movies. From the pod racing scene, you got Darth Maul, the double lightsaber. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in that movie. So I can't really trash it that much. But it certainly isn't the best. But I will say it is a B tier movie. Okay, episode 2, I had the biggest crush on Natalie Portman, so I got to see her in this white outfit, which was really nice. And that's all I really remember from episode 2. I also just think of episode 2 as a big mess because that's like the Clone Wars, okay? And it was just a massive CGI parade, and it kind of looks bad. I give it a D. Yeah, I think D tier is where episode 2 goes. Episode 3, I saw that one in theaters as well. Have to admit, I fell asleep towards the last like 20 minutes of the movie. It was just because it was really late and I was a teenager and I was really wanting my sleep. And yeah, I was catching up on some Z's, but I think it's a slight bit above episode 2. I want to say it's between a B and a C. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, Solo I thought was fairly decent. It was a good movie for what it was. It wasn't the movie that everyone thought it was going to be, which was Han Solo, he's such a badass, he's just a ruthless kind of bandit, on the run. He's cool. It kind of turned into something else that wasn't that great. But, I mean, as a standalone movie, kind of not implying that it's old Harrison Ford, it wasn't bad, but it definitely didn't bring in the box office money that Disney was hoping for. So it kind of became a flop, and I feel like Solo is what killed the whole side movies of the Star Wars story, along with Rogue One. So I don't know. I give it a D. All right, now let's go to the Star Wars Holiday Special. Now, if you don't know what the Star Wars Holiday Special is, it's an infamous show. It was a TV special during the holidays of 1978, I think, and it was meant to keep Star Wars fans primed up for the next movie, which would be Empire Strikes Back. It was aired on CBS only one time. It was only aired on TV one time, that one time, because it was so horrible. All right. Like, production was bad. I did a whole documentary on how it was made and how everything was just a crapshoot. But the Star Wars Holiday Special had a lot of things in it to where it's a fan favorite. There's a segment in there where it shows Boba Fett, which is the first time Boba Fett's ever shown in the Star Wars universe. So you gotta give it props for that, but there's definitely a lot of the other things in there that's just so wacky and wild. It was the late 70s, and, things were very, very loose. George Lucas wishes if he could find every single copy that people taped off their VCRs when this was shown. If he could get a hands on every single tape of that, he would smash it into oblivion. Star Wars Holiday Special does deserve to be here on the list. And I think for its wackiness and Boba Fett being shown for the first time, I'll put it on a C tier. It's C tier. All right, now we're going to get to Star Wars, the original. It's Star Wars A New Hope, which they rebranded it that later on. It was supposed to be just a standalone movie. Like, there were no sequels or prequels or anything planned for it at the time when it first came out, but it was such a huge success, man. They were like, yeah, you got to keep rolling these out, George. So this by itself is a perfect movie. And I think it does deserve to be in the S tier category. So that's where we are going to put Star Wars A New Hope for now. I say that for a reason, so let's continue. And we will continue with the second to last movie we have down here in Purgatory, and it is Star Wars Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. I saw this once and I was actually really amazed that a new-ish Star Wars movie can actually be good, be decent. It's like right before Star Wars A New Hope starts, or in the same vein of that. So it's pretty cool how they did all of the things and put it all together and did the thing there. I really liked it. I feel like it's a classic in the new age of Star Wars movies. So I give it an A, actually. It's really good. And now we get to, I think if you are a really, really big Star Wars nerd, Star Wars fan, you are going to say that The Empire Strikes Back it's a movie, all right? And is it F tier? No. Is it A tier? No. Is it E tier? No. Is it B tier? No. Is it C tier? No. It is S tier. Now, why is it S tier? I feel like this movie, more than any other movie, shows off the Star Wars universe and so many different locations and the growth of all the characters far more than any other movie. And besides that, it has the classic scene of Luke figuring out that Darth Vader is his father. It kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger, which I really wasn't that big of a fan of. But you see Hoth, the Battle of Hoth in there. Just every single thing that you see Star Wars. Oh, there's a scene from Star Wars. Like, the best scenes come from The Empire Strikes Back. And when I say that Star Wars A New Hope is S tier, and, you know, let's hang on to that for a second. When you see The Empire Strikes Back after this, you're like, how could a Star Wars movie get any more perfect? Yeah, Empire Strikes Back nuzzles and pushes A New Hope down slightly from S tier down to high A, low S tier. And that's where A New Hope will sit. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Industrial Industries World Radio Star Wars movie tier list. So, virtually my idea, my opinion of the Star Wars movies, where they should be on a tier list. And I think this is fairly decent. This is very fair. So I feel like anything here that touches the C tier on up, you should watch. Episode 2 gets in there just enough at the very top. Solo and on up, you're fine. The last trilogy, the last 3 Skywalker movies, you don't have to watch them. They're kind of pathetic. They're jam-packed, full of a lot of action stuff, but man, no. Anyways, that is it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Happy Star Wars Day. And I am DJ Glowing Ice saying, may the 4th be with you. Bye-bye.